Hello there, I'm a nerd named Ryan, and today we are going to talk about the brand new Christmas special of Doctor Who, The Church on Ruby Road. So let's get into it. Okay, so The Church on Ruby Road. This was, of course, the first full-length appearance of Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor. He, of course, appeared in The Giggle, the last episode, for a little bit. He was really fun in that. And it's also the first episode to feature Millie Gibson as his new companion, Ruby Sunday. There will be a few spoilers, by the way, just littered throughout the video. I'm going to talk about specific plot points for both this and for The Giggle. So if you haven't seen either of those two episodes and you don't want them spoiled, click away now, go watch the episodes first. Overall, first impressions, I really enjoyed The Church on Ruby Road. There were issues I had with it, a few little nitpicks that I'm going to get into as we go on, but overall, I really enjoyed it. So the first thing I really liked in this episode, actually, was Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson as the Doctor and Ruby Sunday. I think those two, first off, I think those two actors are both fantastic, and they're both really, really good with each other. They have a lot of great chemistry and a lot of great banter, and I think you really need that for a TARDIS team. They were really fun together. I love that they're kind of already bickering. There's a bit in this episode where they already start bickering, and that was really funny. I enjoyed that. I'm like, they've already got the Doctor and companion dynamic down so well. So that was excellent. Really liked that. Ncuti Gatwa, I enjoyed him as the Doctor. I think he has a lot of great energy that he brings to the part. He was a really fun Doctor in this episode, kind of a bit wacky and fun. I like that when you kind of are first introduced to the Doctor. You know, we'll probably get all the darker stuff and the more kind of emotional stuff a little bit later on through his run. There was one little scene that was a bit emotional, but mostly it was kind of a light-hearted and fun episode, and I think that's kind of become a bit of a tradition for the Doctor's kind of first adventure, you know. The Christmas Invasion was kind of wacky fun, the 11th Hour was kind of wacky fun, The Woman Who Fell to Earth was kind of wacky fun, and then later on they did the kind of the big heavy stuff, you know, as the series goes on. This was really just an episode to showcase Ncuti Gatwa and the kind of energy he's going to bring to the part of the Doctor, and I really enjoyed him. I thought he was great. I also really liked Millie Gibson. Now, I was not familiar with Millie Gibson as an actor before this at all. I know she's been in one of the soap operas, I think Coronation Street, but I don't know. I don't watch any of the soaps, so this was the first I've seen her as an actor. I really liked her. She was really fun. Again, she had great chemistry with Ncuti Gatwa. I'm looking forward to seeing where their relationship goes and how that develops and how they play off each other in the new series. I really liked her kind of character backstory as well, how she was kind of abandoned on Christmas Eve and then picked up at the church, and she's named Ruby because she was found at the church on Ruby Road, hence the title. That was really interesting. I liked all the stuff with, you know, her family dynamic, her foster mum, who then became her adoptive mum. That was really interesting. The family dynamic was cool. I liked that. They gave us a lot of stuff about Ruby Sunday, but they also, a lot of, you know, information about Ruby Sunday's family and her backstory, but not too much. They gave us just enough to kind of hook me into the story and see kind of where it goes, see how it develops, and see kind of what things we learn about her as the series goes on. That was really interesting. I liked the whole setup with the Goblins, how the Goblins keep causing a bunch of accidents and bad luck, and she just says, well, she just thinks it's because she's clumsy. But I like that it's kind of the Goblins that are doing it, and the kind of the idea of how the Goblins exist because of accidents and luck and coincidence and stuff like that. That was a really kind of interesting idea that I really, really liked as well. I kind of liked the design of the Goblins, and I like the Goblins as monsters. I think, you know, as kind of a one-off kind of wacky villain for a Christmas special, they were pretty fun. I liked the Goblins overall. I have mixed feelings on the song that they did, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Yeah, overall, mostly a positive experience. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do in the new series as well going forward. As a sort of a fun Christmas Day adventure and a nice setup for the next series, which we got a trailer for after the episode had concluded. It was perfectly fun. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm probably going to watch it again tomorrow on iPlayer because I really liked it, and it was fun. I hate to keep saying it was fun, but it was. That was my main sort of takeaway from it. It was a kind of fun, light adventure and a nice kind of teaser to kind of lead you into what's to come with this new era of Doctor Who. One other thing I really liked in the story was I like how they use time travel in the story. And again, Doctor Who is a time travel show, but they don't always utilise the time travel, elements of the show in the story. I like that they did that with the Goblins, how they kind of, after they're thwarted by the Doctor and Ruby, and the Doctor and Ruby steal the baby back, rescue the baby. I like that they go back in time through Ruby's timeline and steal her as a baby. That was a really interesting idea, and I like that, we saw like this parallel timeline where Ruby was never adopted, because she was taken by the Goblins, and how different it is. That was an interesting idea, and I like how they kind of resolved that with the Doctor going back as well, and sorting that all out. So yeah, that was really fun as well. Yeah, that was interesting. I enjoyed that. So let's get to the stuff I didn't like. There's nothing hugely objectionable in this episode, nothing that I flat out hated, but there were a couple of things that I wasn't the biggest fan of. So part of Ruby's storyline is that she is searching for her birth parents, and she goes on a TV show to help her try and find her birth parents, and there is no trace of them at all. There's no kind of there's no trace of a mum or a dad or any siblings or anything. Even when they take a sample of Ruby's DNA, they can find no match. Now that's interesting, and I like that they kind of set that up. But they put Davina McCall in the episode. So for those who don't know, Davina McCall is a TV presenter, and she does a show in the UK called Long Lost Family, where they reunite people who were adopted with their birth parents. So I understand why Davina McCall's in there, and also it's it's a Christmas Day cameo. But here's the thing: I really, really don't like when Doctor Who puts celebrities in the show as themselves. Like they did this before with Brian Cox in the Matt Smith era. I didn't like that either. I'm like, I don't know, for some reason it's just never quite sat right with me. It didn't ruin the episode or anything, but the stuff with Davina, I'm like, why is this here? This is a bit kind of goofy. This is a bit too wacky for me. Like there was some silly stuff in this episode, but I don't know, I've just never really been a big fan of when they just randomly throw celebrities into Doctor Who. Just as themselves, and you could have easily just cast an actor as a TV presenter to do that same role, because they don't mention that it's Long Lost Family that she's on. It's hinted at, and obviously Davina McCall is that link, but I don't know. Is that a nitpick? I feel like that's a nitpick, but I wasn't a big fan of Davina McCall being there. Now let's talk about the Goblin Song, because I have kind of mixed feelings on the Goblin Song. On the one hand, I don't mind it. I think it's a fun musical number. It's quite catchy, and I actually do like how the Doctor and Ruby kind of use the musical number as a way to rescue the baby. They kind of use it to distract the goblins. That was a nice little twist. I liked that, because I was really worried that they were gonna not tie it into the story. I was really worried it was just going to be a musical number that just exists for no reason and then they just move on from it. I like that they actually tied it into the story, and it was part of the Doctor's, plan to rescue the baby, was kind of distracting them by joining in with the musical number. That was an interesting idea. That being said, I do think the musical number lasted a little bit too long for me. And then it felt like the actual rescue that took place after the musical number was a little bit rushed. Again, nothing sort of massively bad or anything like that. It was fine, but it did feel like I would have liked for the song to have been slightly shorter, and for the rescue and the escape to have been a little bit quicker. So it did feel like it ended a little bit abruptly. I was quite enjoying it, and then I'm like, oh, that bit's done now. Okay, fine. But that's really my only kind of big nitpick with the episode. Is I'm not the biggest fan of when they put celebrities in just as themselves. So the Davina McCall thing, I get why they did it, but I wasn't the biggest fan of that, and I do think the musical number went on a bit too long, though I did like it overall. By the way, I know that the musical number was uploaded to YouTube a few weeks back. I didn't watch it because I like to go into episodes of Doctor Who as blind as possible. So, when they release these kind of scenes as little teasers, which the BBC did for the 60th anniversary specials as well, not the biggest fan of that. I don't watch those bits because I want to go in as blind as possible. So, Yeah, so this was my first experience with the Goblin Song, and yeah, again, liked it overall. A little bit too long for me. Would have liked it to have been a bit shorter. That's really my only kind of nitpick, though. But I did just want to touch upon the trailer afterwards, because first of all, I think the trailer looks really good. I think they've set up some excellent stuff with the Doctor and Ruby's kind of storyline, and the trailer does make it look very exciting. The show's coming back in May. Can't wait to see it. It was uploaded to YouTube seconds after the episode aired, seconds after it aired on TV, and it was, and the thumbnail on YouTube says Doctor Who Season 1, and I needed to kind of talk about this because I don't get why it's Season 1. Like, I know Russell T Davies has said that this is a reboot, and I know they're treating it like a reboot, and I know that on BBC iPlayer you have the classic series, and then you have 2005 to 2023 or 22, and then you've got 2023 onwards. So I get that they're treating it all as a reboot, starting with the 60th anniversary and the bi-generation that happened in the Giggle where David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa's Doctors split. That's a nice way of doing a reboot, of saying this is a new era. I don't think it's necessary to call it Season 1, simply because, as Doctor Who fans, I feel like we all kind of know that whenever you introduce a new Doctor, you basically reboot the show. It still has the same continuity, and it's going to continue having the same continuity. I would be shocked if they never referenced anything in the past ever again. I think they're going to. So, I don't know, it just seems a bit odd to not call it Series 14. Because, again, every time you have a new Doctor, it feels like a reboot anyway. You look at, even when it's the same showrunner, you look at the Peter Capaldi era. The Peter Capaldi era feels different to the Matt Smith era. It felt like Deep Breath felt like a small, sort of soft reboot. So did The Woman Who Fell to Earth. The 11th Hour did before Deep Breath as well. So it feels like they reboot it every time they get a new Doctor anyway. So, again, I don't really see the point of them calling it Season 1. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, and I know that it doesn't really matter, but I don't know, it feels a bit silly to me. Just call it Series 14, because that's what it is. I know it doesn't really matter, but I don't know, I just had to mention it. It's just a bit weird to me, okay? But yeah, overall, really liked the episode, thought it was fun, a nice little setup for the new series, and a nice fun, adventure for Christmas. It feels right, doesn't it, having Doctor Who back on Christmas? As much as I liked the 3 New Year's Day specials, Christmas Day, it just feels like the place to have Doctor Who, doesn't it? Really looking forward to seeing what they do next. Thought the setup for the series was really, really good. I'm intrigued to see how the Doctor and Millie's relationship changes. I'm really looking forward to seeing those two. Again, I think those two actors are really, really good together. I think that's probably all I've got to say. So, yeah. The Church on Ruby Road. What did you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. Are you looking forward to Series 14/Season 1? Whatever your general thoughts are, drop them down in the comments and let's talk about it. Thanks so much for stopping by for this really random and really rambly review. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.